Hi there, Algebra 2, 4.4, factoring quadratic expressions. To find common and binomial factors of quadratic expressions to factor special quadratic expressions. Factoring is rewriting an expression as a product of its factors. Greatest common factor of an expression is a common factor of the terms in the expression. Perfect square trinomial is a trinomial that is the square of a binomial. FOIL. Remember what FOIL is. FOIL is first, outer, inner, last. We let go x plus 4 or x plus 2. Okay? First, you get x squared outer plus 2x inner plus 4x, and then we want last plus 8. So then we end up with x to the second plus 6x plus 8. That's our answer. Okay? What we are going to do today is go from this back to this. So we are basically unfoiling, if you want to think of it that way. Okay? So, one thing that I always teach kids when I do this is the factors have to come from this and this. So, right away, you probably have x and x. Okay, we have that point. Okay? Now, the other thing we need to do is realize that this is plus, or this is plus, this is plus. The only way to get a plus here is if they're both positive or they're both negative. Well, with this sign being here, being a plus, I am going to guarantee that this, since they're both plus, they both have to be plus here. Okay? Now, we need to find factors of 40 that will add together, because we have plus plus here, and if we had minus minus, it still add together, but this would be negative. We need to find two things that add up to 14. Well, my factors of 40 are 1 and 40. That's probably not going to, that's going to add up to 41. 2 and 20, which is 22. 3 and, 3 don't go in there. All right, 4 and 10. Well, that adds up to 14. Boom, I'm done. Okay? Right here, we got another one. Okay, once again, I'm going to go x and x from this point right here. Okay, we have a plus and a minus. This being plus tells me they both have to be positive or they have to both be negative. This tells me it is going to be negative. So it's going to be negative, negative. Alright? Now I need to look at 30. Give me some factors of 30. Well, you have 1 and 30. Well, that added together means they're both probably negative. It's going to give me negative 31. Well, that's not a negative 11. Alright, how about 2 and 15? Well, that's going to give me 17. We're getting there, but not quite. 3 and 10. That'll give me 13. No, that's not quite it. 4 doesn't go in there. 5 times 6. They're both negative. Oh, that works. There we go. Here's my answer for that one. Okay? Now, this one has a negative right here. That is key here. Okay? So, that's going to change things in some of the rules I just taught you. But you're still going to have x, and you're still going to have an x. Okay, one of these has to be a negative because two negatives together make a positive, and two positives make a positive. So one of these has to be negative. Okay, got this started. Alright? Now, the signs here are going to be a little bit more difficult. Okay, the thing is, it still holds true that since this is a plus, it either both has to be plus or it both has to be negative. Okay? Now, the biggest thing here is I would go to the fact of having factors. And honestly, being this is plus, I would just put plus plus in here. I don't know if that's the right idea, but it's going to work for me on this one. And I'm trying to think if it always works this. I think it will. Okay? Now, my factors are 1 and 32. Well, one of them is going to get negative by multiplying by this, which will give me, let's say, negative 32, because I want to get, well, my bigger number's got to be positive. That's why this is going to happen. At least in this one. Okay, that's why it's a positive 14. So if I put 32 in there, and this one would be negative 1, that'd only give me 31. Not going to work. Alright, 2 times 16. Well, bigger number's going to go here. Multiply, you get 16x. Minus 2x from your outer. And that should get me what I want. That should give me 14x. Oh, I'm done. So now, the 2 has to be the outer, because when I do outside, and the 16 would have to be the inner. Okay? Good. Finding common factors. Okay. Now, before you ever factor, you want to see if you can pull something out of everything, because factoring is easier the smaller it is. Okay? So, on this example, we are just going to pull out the factors. Now, on the very last one, I might factor completely just to show you why they want you to do it this way. Okay? Maybe. Alright. In this one, is there something I can take out of everything? Hopefully you're saying 7. So then you get 7, parenthesis x to the second minus 3x. Okay? Actually, I don't believe that one can go any farther down anyway. Alright, on this next one, what is something I can take for everything? Now, there isn't an x with the 18, so the x has got to stay there. You can take a 9 out of all of this. Well, you get 9, divide that by 9, you're going to get x to the second. Divide that by 9, you're going to get x minus 2. This one would work. Okay. We're going to do the last one, and then I think I'm going to use that one. Oh, we can factor. Okay, they want us to at this point. So, we took out a common factor. Can I take this one? Why did I say no to this one right away? Well, if I have n, and I have n, and I'm going to have a plus and a minus, you're probably going to get 3 and 1 are my only factors. I will never get this to cancel all the way out. So I knew I was done at that point. Okay? We have x and we have x here. We have a minus here. And this brings up something I haven't talked about. If there's a minus, it has to be plus minus. Boom. Done like that. Okay? My number in right-hand side here is positive, so my bigger factor has to go with positive. Well, you only have a factor of 2 and 1, so 2 must go here and 1 must go there. That is the answer you are looking for right there. Okay? Now, let's go here. We can divide a 4 out of everything, so we're going to have 4x to the second plus 2x plus 12? No, take a 4 out, 3. Alright? Okay, so we did that. Can we factor this anymore? Well, you have x, you have a plus, so it's got to be plus, plus. Factors of 3 is 1 and 3. If I do inside, outside, does that work? Does it work? I'm getting 4x when I do it. So this is one that does not work. That's the only factors I can have for that, and it will not work. And you can use some of the rules I taught you and tell yourself you are done at that point. Okay. Factoring 8x to the second where a, the absolute value is not 1. Okay, alright. So this becomes a little more tricky, because now we have a number in front of our a. Okay. Now, that means I could have 2x plus, and 2x over here. I could have 4x, and I could have 1x here. So it opens up a lot of possibilities of what can happen here. Okay? I'm not sure which one I want to go with. I do know one thing though. Plus, plus still. And that's not a negative, so these will all be pluses. Okay? Now, there's only so many factors of 3 times 1. And I know my signs right now, so it really kind of eliminates me down to what I can do. You can only have 3 times 1. Now we just need to decide which one works. Now, there is another thing to this. The top one's not going to matter so much, but this bottom one matters quite a bit. Okay? Right now we have 3 times, we'd have outside, which would get 2x, right? 2x. We do inside, we get plus 6x. That equals 8x. Does that work? No. Okay? Now, you could flip these two, but when you're multiplying everything by 2x, both of these by 2x, it's going to get you the same thing. So even if I put this here, I'm still going to get 6x, and I'm still going to get 2x. So that one I'm done with. There's no other way I can do it. Now this one, I'm going to go outside, you're going to get 4x plus 3x equals 7x. Well, that's what I wanted. So this is my answer. But one thing I want to point out, you have 4x plus 1, let's say, and 1x plus 3. You're going to get 12x plus 1x equals 13x. So this one does matter which order you have it in. It does, it does, it does. Okay? So, now, nice part about this one being 2, there's only 2 different factors we can have. Okay? We have 2x and x. That's the only 2 possibilities for that problem. We have a plus and we have a minus, which tells me minus, minus. Okay? Now I need factors of 6. Well, there's 1 and 6, and there's 2 and 3. Not a ton of them. but it can mess with me a little bit here. Alright, so let's try 2 and 3. Not sure if it's a smart idea, but we're going to try it. Okay, so I want to go with 2 here and 3 here. Okay, if I FOIL this, I'm going to get negative 3x, and that was my inside. Outside, I'm going to get negative 4x. That should give me negative 7x. That is the right answer then. Factoring perfect square trinomials. Perfect square trinomials, when they are plus, when it's plus plus, is going to be a plus b squared. These two are going to be the same thing. You actually, when you factor it, you're going to get a plus b and a plus b. Okay? This one, you have a minus plus, is actually a minus b and a minus b, but those are going to be the same numbers for your a and your b, or variables. So this is when it happens this way. Okay. Now, perfect square trinomials. Okay. What is 4x to the second minus 24x plus 36? Okay. Being just says factoring a perfect square trinomial. Now, is that easy on homework? You have 2x and 2x. Alright? Because that's a perfect square of 4, right? And then, what's my perfect square of 36? Well, 6. Okay, this is a plus, this is a minus, so that means these are both going to be minuses. Okay, does it work? Outside's going to give me negative 12x minus 12x. That equals negative 24x. There's only one thing that really gets me on that one, and that's the fact that you could factor. So I don't know if I completely like this one or not, because you could take a 4 out of every single one of those. I'm trying to see if that would have been smarter. Because I want you guys to always be thinking you can factor first. The book does not show you, so. But if I took a 4 out of everything, I think it'd still be a perfect square. You'd have x to the second. Let's finish this one. So this would equal 2x minus 6 squared. If I take a 4 out of this, I'm going to get minus 6x plus 9, which is going to give me 4 parentheses x plus 3 minus 3 x minus 3. So all you'd have is 4 parentheses x minus 3 to the second. You could do it both ways. It does work as a perfect square no matter what. Okay. What about the bottom one? This one you can't factor. Take a greatest common factor out of everything. Okay? But we're working with perfect squares. We see a perfect square. We see a perfect square. So that means you could probably have 8x Okay? Plus, minus. Plus telling me it either has to be both pluses or both minuses. This minus is going to tell me it's minus minus. Okay? 1, 1. Okay? Does it work? Well, let's try the middle. Outer is going to give me 8x. Inner is going to give me minus 8x, which equals negative 16x. That's what we're looking for. So that means 8x minus 1 to the second. Factoring the difference of two squares. So here, you're going to see, and the biggest difference here, is there's nothing in the middle. You have A to the second, B to the second. So if you have one where there is no middle, this is probably what I'm looking at. Okay? And then you're obviously going to have a plus here, or plus minus. You get negative AB plus AB. That's going to cancel out. That's why there's nothing left in the middle of this one. Alright. What is 25x to the second minus 49? Now, also, one thing I didn't point out on the last slide is the fact that you... Alright, is the fact that you still have an a squared. It was the same thing. Okay, twice. So those numbers are probably going to be perfect squares as well, because it has to cancel out in the bottom. So, here, we'd have, what's the perfect square of 25? 5. Perfect square of x is x, 5x. There's 2 of them, alright. Nothing in the middle. Well, I'm really thinking probably plus minus here. Alright. What's the square root of 49? 7. 7. Okay, both of them have perfect squares. Probably what I'd check for when I'm looking at a problem like this. Alright, do the inside outside. Outside's going to give me negative 35x. Inside's going to give me plus 35x. Gone, gone. So yes, this is my answer. Okay. What is 16x squared minus 81? Perfect square, perfect square. So we are at 4x minus 9 and 4x plus 9. Does it work? I'm going to get 36x minus 36x. It's gone, there's nothing up here, so it is correct. There is your homework.